Right, Assalamualaikum. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Doctor.
Okay, so today we resume our lecture. So we have done Module 5 last week, Scientific Writing. So today we are going to discuss research proposal. That is the sixth module. Okay, I have uploaded the lecture notes. You can have a look at it. But today I'm going to just highlight the key points of the lecture notes. The lecture notes are quite wordy, I know, but I just highlight the important things that you should know from this module, okay? And I would like to focus also on FYP because research proposal is a generic name, right? It refers to any research, yeah, proposal of any research. But since you guys are taking FYP next semester, so I think it's better to focus on FYP at the end, okay? So that's gonna be today's agenda. All right. So let me just go directly to, yeah. Right, so module 6 is research proposal. So as the name implies, it means that there are two things, isn't it? So the first one is research, and the second one is proposal. So when the two things combine, yeah, the first one is research, and the second one is proposal. So we talk about research in this course, right? Because we want to actually communicate our science. So in order to communicate our science, of course, we have to do research. So that research is going to be communicated, right? So before we do the research, being defined as a systematic process. Remember, research is defined as a systematic process. This research is a systematic process, isn't it? Systematic process means it must have certain proper plan before you do the research, right? So how are you going to document that plan? So it's through a proposal, okay? So basically a research proposal is a plan, yeah, is a document that consists of plan, that consists of a plan of a new research. Okay, a new research means a research that has not been done yet. Remember, um, we talked about research gap before, right? So it's not a totally new research. It could, I mean, like not a new research. It's not totally consists of new things. It can consist of things that have been covered by previous researchers, but you must have a gap, something different, want to study more. Okay, for example, if let's say you study about E. coli, E. coli has been studied by many researchers before, but there must be something that you want to know that has not been studied before. So if there is a gap, then the whole thing is called a new research. Okay, so before you start the new research, you should plan. You should plan. You should do some revision, or not revision, you should do some homework on the proposal, on the research that you want to do. Means that you have to read the previous articles, what has been done, what has not been done yet. So you have to know what are the methods that you want to use. So how to know the methods is through the reading. Okay, so at the end of the process of the reviewing process, okay, the literature review, okay, the process of reviewing the articles, previous works is called literature review. Review means like you are reviewing, isn't it? Compare and contrast. And literature refers to the collection of the previous works. Okay, so you must come up with a document because you want to be systematic. and that document is called a research proposal. So yeah, so it consists of a plan. Okay, so when we talk about a plan, so a plan should consist of a few things. Yeah. So there are few things that a research proposal should have. This is based on the rules that have been set by previous researchers, and they have, they have survived the process because of the proper plan that they are prepared. Okay. So basically, that is a research proposal. So the prerequisite of a research proposal, okay, before you come up with a document, you must do. Prerequisites means something that you should do before you prepare the proposal. So you must do literature review. Okay, literature review. So literature review, as I said just now, is a process of reviewing previous works. Where you get the previous works from? Articles, from journal papers. Articles and journal papers are the same. So the whole process of reading, comparing, contrasting, finding the difference, and finding the gap, the whole process is called literature review. And you have to do, for your FYP, you have to do your literature review as soon as you get the topic, not necessarily when the semester starts. Let's say you got the topic by the end of this semester, right? So you got the topic, then you can start reading. You can start doing your literature review, so that when you start your FYP1, when you start the new semester, you are busy with other courses as well. So you can save time. You have already the plan. Yeah. So you are systematic. You set yourself to be systematic. Okay. So literature review should be done once you get the topic, once you know what you are doing. Okay. Okay, so research proposal, what it should have, okay, before we go into the components of a research proposal, there are some points about it that I want to highlight here. So it means that it consists of things or plan of a new research that we haven't done yet, isn't it? But sometimes there are situations where maybe you want to do a little work, like you want to test, not too much, but like little works in the lab in order to confirm that what you are presenting or what you are proposing makes sense. Okay, so in that circumstances, you may have a preliminary results. Okay, meaning to say that you do a little bit work, but not much, just enough to support your hypothesis. Okay, so in that instances, you can include these results into your proposal, but it is not compulsory. Okay, not compulsory. For FYP, maybe yeah, most of the time we don't really we don't make it compulsory. But in some instances of research, for example, if you, especially when you do a big research, for example, master research, MSc research, or maybe you are already an established researcher, you have some results, initial results, so you want to proceed with, you see the direction of that particular research. You may include the results in your, we call it preliminary results, in the proposal in order to strengthen the research proposal. So means that whenever the reviewer or examiner read the research proposal, they would see that, yeah, that makes sense. This hypothesis, whatever the things proposed, makes sense. Okay, so that is the purpose of preliminary results. Okay, not compulsory. It can be included. It may not also be included. Okay, another point about research proposal is that although you prepare this research proposal before the research is done, basically, okay, means that you outline this and this and this. But that plan, having said as a plan, it can be changed. Okay, it can be changed, means that whatever you read whatever you write in a research proposal, it can be changed. Maybe sometimes, maybe at first you think that the method, this whatever method, may work, but after you start the research, you found out that the method does not work, or maybe you don't have, I mean, there is a limitation, maybe you don't have the equipment, proper equipment for that. So you want to change to another method, right? That is okay. Okay, that is okay. So it can be changed. Whatever the things that you propose can be changed because the name is proposal, propose. It's not yet confirmed. So it's opposite to report, isn't it? When you say report, it's something that you have done, you are confirmed already with the things that you have done. Okay, so that is the difference. Meaning to say that let's say later in your FYP1, you have prepared a proposal, but suddenly in your FYP2, when you do the research, there are things that need to change, right? Don't be panic. Yeah, discuss with your supervisor. It can be changed. I mean, like it's not finalized yet. Okay, so that's the thing that you should know. Meaning to say that you cannot follow everything that you have written because there might be some changes or limitations during the research. Okay, so the content of the research proposal can be changed according to the need. Yeah. Okay, so that's some introduction of a research proposal. If you go through the lecture notes, yeah, you can read for by yourself because some of the points actually are the same like what I've explained here. So I just want to simplify it so that it's not going to be so wordy to go through the notes. Okay, so that's the introduction of a research proposal. Now you know. Okay. So as I said just now, research proposal is a generic term. So if you are doing a final year project research, so you call it FYP proposal. Yeah. So if you are doing MSc studies, MSc is Master of Science. So if let's say you are preparing a proposal for your master studies, so your proposal is called MSc proposal. So you know, like the word research here refers to all kind of research. Okay, so but your type of research next semester is FYP. So that's why we call FYP proposal, but it's actually the same. Okay. Right. So what a research proposal should have. Okay. So when I say what a research proposal here is generic, so what a FYP proposal also should have. But some of the things I would mention later that might not be included in FYP. Okay. So the first one is title. Of course, the title is very important because it will give the name of the research. Okay, the title, the topic. So normally for FYP, the title will be given by your supervisor. So for FYP, you don't have to worry much. But for, let's say, after you become an independent researcher, like for example, lecturers, they have to do independent research. Yeah? So we have to propose our own title depending on what we want to do. Okay, so meaning to say that the establishment of a title is a must, but for FYP is already given, so you don't have to worry. So basically, what a good title should have, okay, it should cover. It should cover. It should let's say from the title, it should explain the research. Means that once someone reads the title, they already understand what the project is all about. Okay. At the same time, it should be simple, concise, okay, informative, and inilah, it describes the research. Okay, and of course, because this is a document, so the language should be correct. The use of words, terminologies should be correct. Okay. Grammar. grammar should be, and the grammar should be an important consideration. In fact, in the whole document. Okay. So after title, the first section of a research proposal is the executive summary, or sometimes it is just called summary or abstract. Okay, so this is the first section that actually everyone who reads the document will read, because it will describe the whole thing of a proposal. Okay, so meaning to say that this summary or abstract, it should be written normally in 300 words. Okay, even abstract is not just in a proposal. You can see abstract in a lot of documents. Okay? So a research proposal also have an abstract or a summary. So if you think about an A4 page, it's half of the A4 page with the font of 12. Okay, so normally we use 12, right? The font. So it should be about half. Not maybe a little bit exceed, okay, but not too much, but not towards the whole page. Okay, so that is the length of the abstract that you should write. Okay, so 300 words means that it's very limited. The space, the thing that you want to include should be you should be selective of the things that you want to include. So what a summary of a research proposal should have. Okay, so as I said just now, a lot of documents have abstract. It's not only proposal, but for proposal, the content should be suitable for a proposal. Okay, meaning to say that for FYP proposal, you must write an abstract, right? So your abstract for FYP proposal will not be the same. With the abstract that you will write for an FYP report, FYP thesis at the end of your research. Okay, so it's different. Yeah? So the content is different. Content is different from from thesis abstract. We call FYP report, normally we call thesis abstract. Okay. And then what an abstract should have, an abstract for a research proposal should have, it should have first, okay, let me go into okay, abstract of a proposal. Okay, so what it should have, so the first two sentences are about general statement indicating the subject matter. Okay, general statements. If let's say your research is about bioethanol, so there must be a general or introductory statement saying that bioethanol is so and so. Okay, so this one is about 1 to 2 sentences, and then goes to problem statement. Okay, problem statement in an abstract, it should be very concise. You know what concise is? Concise means it's very simple, yet it has the important points. Okay, so this one is about 1 to 2 sentences as well. Okay, and then you go to aim or objective of your research. Okay, so once problem statement, you say that the use of maybe banana waste as a substrate for producing bioethanol has not been studied in the past. Okay, that is an example of problem statement. So most of the studies focus on maybe other agricultural waste. Okay, that is also considered as a problem statement. So because of that problem, we want to say that, okay, hence this research aims to investigate the use of banana waste. It means that, there must be a coherency. You say the problem first, right? And then after that, that's the problem. Then you want to say this research wants to solve that problem. You want, I mean, like to uncover the 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 issues. Okay, so that's the rationale of why aim and objective should come after the problem statement. So aim and objective, it should be about one sentence normally. Okay, and then after that, you would say methodology in brief. Okay, in brief. Everything in abstract should be in brief. So it means this one is about 1 to 2 sentences. And here you just highlight the main methods, or maybe the overview of the work. Maybe you say that this project will be divided into 2 stages. In the first stage, the effect of whatever will be investigated by using this method. Okay, and in the second stage, the effect of maybe the morphology will be analyzed by using scanning electron microscope. Okay, I mean that you want to say very brief. Okay, methodology, and then after that is the expected outcome. So means that after you say about the problem, the objective, how you do that in the methodology, and you say that at the end of this research, it is expected that the influence of whatsoever will be understood or will be investigated. Okay, so means that here your expected outcome should this one should be around normally one sentence. Okay, one sentence, and this one should tally. You know what tally? It should answer. It should match. Should match with your objective, isn't it? So if you say that you want to investigate the influence of pH and temperature on on bioethanol production from banana waste, so means that that is your objective. Of course, you expect to get results on that, isn't it? So you should say, by the end of this research, it is expected that the influence of pH and temperature on bioethanol production will be understood. Okay, something like that. But the way how you say it, it should be general. The relationship between whatever things, factor A and factor B, will be understood better, okay, by the end of this work. Okay, that is the expected outcomes. And the last one, normally this one is additional. If you put it, it would be an excellent abstract. Okay, so the implication. Implication means the general implication. Yeah? The general implication. Normally this one is in one sentence. So it means you want to say what is the future direction of the research, meaning to say that maybe you want to say the sentence, it sounds like this. This research will give useful insight into the use of agricultural waste, such as banana waste, as a substrate for bioproduction, something like that. So it means that you put it in a very broad perspective. What's the importance? So this one is to emphasize the importance of your work, but in a very brief manner. Importance of the work. Okay. So that's what an abstract of a proposal should have. Okay. And all of this should be in one paragraph, 300 words, one paragraph. Okay. And then there should be no citation. Another thing that you should remember, no citation in an abstract, because everything that you say here are all your words, isn't it? Like you develop your own problem statement, meaning to say that you have reviewed and then you come up with your with your opinion. Actually, problem statement is about is actually, it should be your own words. General statement, something that is understood by everyone. it does not need citation. The aim and objective, you develop your own objective, isn't it? Like you don't cite it. If you cite it, means it's not a new research. Yeah, so you should come up with your own objective. So it's your own words. Methodology, you just mentioned like the plan of your research. You design it, isn't it? So you design it, you explain it in your own words. Expected outcomes also on your own words. General implication should also your own view about the potential of the research. So everything should be your own words. So there's no citation. Citation means Smith et al. 2020. There's no such thing in abstract. Okay, please remember. Okay, so that is an abstract. Not done yet. So that's the second, well, the first section of a proposal. So the third point is the, okay, so here, if you see here, this is summary, abstract just now is just a section that summarizes everything. Okay, but in your research proposal, let's say in your FYP, there should be chapters. Okay, chapters, I mean like the main chapters. So the first one, the first chapter is actually introduction chapter. So introduction should cover this part. So this one should be in chapter 1, introduction. Okay, when I say chapter here, because this one is for FYP. If let's say you are just writing a normal proposal for applying funding or grant, you don't need a thesis or you don't need like something like FYP documents, so we don't put it in a chapter. Okay, right. So since you are doing FYP next semester, so the first chapter that you have to write is introduction. So introduction for a research, for a FYP proposal should be about 3 to 4 pages. Okay, 3 to 4 pages, I can say. Sometimes it's not about the quantity, it's more to about the thing, the quality of the things that you write. Even though it's just 3 pages, for example. If let's say you include everything very nicely, it will be a good write-up. Okay. All right. So the first chapter for an FYP proposal is introduction. So under this chapter, what you should have, you should elaborate a little bit more the general background. Like remember just now in summary, we have 1 or 2 sentences on the background of the study. But in the introduction chapter, is a bit longer, maybe 1 paragraph about the background of the research. Okay, the background, just to give an introduction, to the readers what your research is all about. And then after the introductory statements or introductory paragraph, you should highlight problem statements. Problem statements in about 1 paragraph or 2 paragraphs the most. Okay, so that's why problem statement is there. So problem statement means that here you elaborate a little bit more. You mention about comparison that you have done, the studies. Okay, these people have studied this, these people have studied this, but at the end you have to come up with your own sentence. But studies on maybe the use of this substrate have not been studied before. So that kind of things will develop the problem statements. Okay, so this one should be about about 1 or 2, at least 2 paragraphs. 2 paragraphs. 2 paragraphs. Okay, and then after you mention the problems, you must come up with a paragraph or a paragraph of objective, aim and objective. Okay, aim and objective. So what's the difference between aim and objective? Aim is just to, it sounds more general. Yeah, maybe you want to say you want to investigate the use of banana waste, banana stem, as a substrate for bioethanol production. So it sounds very general still, but when you say objective, you want to focus on what parameter? Maybe you want to say you want to focus on the effect of temperature, the effect of pH. So that is when you start to focus. Remember, we cannot cover everything in any research, isn't it? So we just choose based on our reading, which one that you want to focus on. So that will be stated in your objective. Okay. So after you say the problem, you say the objectives. So this should be about one paragraph for that. And then hypothesis, hypothesis should be based on what you think will be achieved from the research. Okay? It is hypothesized that the use of banana stem is possible for producing bioethanol based on whatever the evidence that you have read before. Okay, so hypothesis should be based on what you focus on. Okay, so it is hypothesized that temperature may have maybe an influence on the bioethanol production and so on. Okay, so all of this is under introduction. Okay, and then the second chapter is literature review. Here, I just put it like number from 1 until 10, but that is actually the components. But when we talk about FYP proposal, it should be under chapters. Okay, so just now, let's say the problem statement, objective, and hypothesis is all included under chapter 1, which is the introduction. Okay, so that's the thing that you have to take note lah. Okay, so chapter 2 in a FYP proposal is literature review. Okay, literature review. So what is literature review? What's the difference between literature review and introduction? Introduction does not have extensive comparison or review. Okay, so it just introduction chapter is they just want to highlight the things outlined just now, the background, brief background, problem statements, objectives, hypothesis. Okay, that is under introduction. Literature review is when you elaborate further what you want to, like what you want to compare and contrast. Means that you have read a number of articles, the more the better. Means that when you read the more, then you understand better the issues revolving around your research, isn't it? So based on your comparison, let's say maybe you have read 20 or 30 articles, then what you have to do is you have to create the literature review chapter. So how you create it? You have to maybe first divide into sub chapters. Okay, let's say in FYP proposal, literature review is chapter number 2. So you can say 2.1, you start first with maybe your topic. It depends on your topic. So you have to, from your topic, you have to divide into subtopics. Maybe, for example, you talk about, let's say it's about bioethanol research. So 2.1 is about bioethanol background first. And then 2.2, you talk about microorganisms that produce bioethanol, for example. Okay, microorganisms that produce bioethanol. And then 2.3, you talk about maybe different substrates for producing bioethanol. It depends on, the way how you design the chapter, it depends on yourself, okay? Like when you read more, you understand more what you want to write, so that would lead you to a better organization of your points, okay? So 2.4, there is no exact requirement like until 2.5. It depends on you. Okay, sometimes under 2.1 you can put maybe 2.2 you divide it into 2.2.1. Depends on the need. Depends on the relevancy of the points that you want to elaborate. Okay, so you can have sub-chapters under this 2.31, 2.32. Okay, so it's good to have the sub-chapters because it will be more organized. And it's not going to be like one continuous chapter. Yeah. So don't write one continuous chapter. What I mean by one continuous chapter means chapter 2, you start literature review and you start your paragraph until the end. There is no sub-chapters. This is what I call sub-chapters. Okay, so you must have sub-chapters. So what you write in the literature review, what you should write in the literature review. So given that you have reviewed a number of articles, so means that when you have decided the subsection just now, like bioethanol, so you focus first bioethanol, the background of bioethanol, what is bioethanol, maybe how bioethanol is produced, something like that. So when you go to the second subchapter, microorganisms that produce bioethanol, so you can focus on the microorganisms. And this one is based on many articles. Okay, this article reported the use of maybe this strain, this microbe to produce. And you elaborate a little bit more description about that. And then you compare another study. I mean, when you start writing, you should use certain terminologies or phrases. For example, previous works on these previous researchers reported, something like that. So if you read the articles, you would come across those terms used by previous researchers. So you can actually follow that kind of style, style of writing. Yeah. And then so you write according to the subchapter. So another thing that you can include in the literature review is not just about sentences. You can also include figures. Okay. You can also include figures. You can include table. Okay. Maybe you have read certain information from a table from one article, and you want to combine with the information that you got from another article. So what you can do, you can generate your own table combining those information, right? Let's say you have your own table and you combine the information from different articles, right? And you write the caption, like maybe you number it table 1. So you describe it's about summary of what? Summary of whatsoever, right? And then because you are using the information from different articles, you are generating your own table in your proposal. So what you should do at the end is you write adapted from. That phrase you should know what it means. Adapted from means you got it from somewhere else, but you do a little bit sort of modification, or maybe so adapted means like you do a little bit. I mean, it's not totally the same as what you copy, or it's not copy paste from directly from the source. Okay, so you are combining, so it must be adapted from whatsoever the source, the name of the reference 1 and reference 2, for example. Okay, so that is and for the figures also, maybe you can draw your own figures, if let's say based on your understanding about this the figure. Okay, maybe you want to redraw the figures, so you can also use these phrases, adapted from, or what source, the reference. So means that literature review you can have, for introduction part cannot have citation. No, introduction, okay. The one that cannot have the citation, only abstract. Okay, when you go into, I forgot to mention, sorry. When you go into your chapter 1, that is when you can start citing. Okay, because some of the things that when you say the problem statement, some of the studies you want to refer to others, you can cite. you can cite. But yeah, chapter 1 you can cite, but not for abstract just now. Okay, only for abstract that you cannot cite. Chapter 1, introduction, you can cite because you have to refer to others in your problem statement. You want to state what's this study has been done by who, okay, and then you want to mention your own view about it. Okay, and of course, literature review and so on. Chapter 1 and so on, you can cite. Of course, you can cite because you need to cite. Otherwise, you'll be considered plagiarizing. Okay. Right, literature review. So it should be, yeah, it's now sentences, you can input figures, you can input table. So normally if let's say you want to compare and contrast, it's good to put the information in a form of table. Sometimes you may not get, maybe you want to generate your own table based on your comparison. Okay, the table does not exist in the figure, sorry, in the articles, but because of you have read this, you have read that, you have read this, and you want to gather all the information which are originally in paragraphs in that articles, you can generate your own table. Just now, when you have, maybe you want to combine two tables, that one also you can have that. But if let's say you want to generate your own table, also you can, okay? Because that is actually the how you can summarize the things better, and even it's much clearer rather than you put it in right in paragraph. Okay, so that's literature review. Literature review, there's well, I don't normally set how many pages, but if you have like around 8 to 10 pages for FYP proposal, that should be sufficient, but it depends on the content as well. So it's not always the quantity, it's always the quality of the points that you write. Okay, chapter 3 for a research proposal. So just now chapter 2. Chapter 3 should be the materials and methods. Okay, material and methods. Chapter 3 or the research methodology. But in FYP, we use the terms materials and methods. Okay, methodology is the same. So that would be the third chapter. So what this chapter is all about, so as the name implies, it should include the methods that you want to use for your research, for your proposed research. So for this chapter also, you need to divide it into sub-chapters. Yeah, so this is chapter number 3. So you would have 3.1, maybe you start first with the microorganism. Okay, so the description of the microorganism, where you get it, what's the name of the microorganism that will be used in the research. Okay, the name like Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the scientific name, where it will be obtained. Maybe if let's say it is a strain, it belongs to a certain lab, you should indicate the name of the lab that you obtain the microbes. Yeah, and then let's say the rest 3.2 is maybe media. It depends on the work as well. Okay, so some research they have different things, so you might not have media, you might have something else, or maybe materials or raw materials, or yeah, it depends. But the basic thing is you should have the sub-chapters 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. And then maybe here is fermentation, E. coli fermentation, for example. Okay, E. coli fermentation. And then 3.4 is analyzers. Okay, analyzers means analysis that you do, right, for quantifying certain things like protein, carbohydrate. And you should state the name of the method, and the reference where you get the method from. Okay, so this one here you have to cite, because you are not the one who are inventing the method. You are still a novice, isn't it? You are like when you enter next semester, you start a new research, you are a new person in research. So you haven't done yet, you haven't have your own method yet. So you have to refer to others. So that's why you have to cite the method that you want to use. Okay, so that is what materials and methods chapter is all about. I will give an example of an FYP proposal just to let you know how the whole document looks like. Chapter 3, okay. Chapter 4, okay, now, for any other type of research, or research schedule. Chapter 4 is expected outcome for a research proposal. It should be, yeah. So chapter 4 for a research proposal, I skip first this one. Chapter 4 should be expected outcomes. This one is not going to be that really long, 1 page only for FYP. So what an expected outcome chapter should have, you should actually answer the objective. Answer in a way that, in a generic way, in a way that you want to say, normally we use the words like, by the end of this project, it is expected that the use of, you answer the aim and objective. First, like for example, aim, answering the aim. The use of banana waste as a substrate for bioethanol production will be investigated. And it is expected that the influence of the pH will be understood, and identification of the optimal pH will be uncovered of this project, something like that. Okay, so it's basically to answer the objective. Okay, but don't answer specifically. What I mean by answer specifically means, let's say you are maybe you want to test pH between 4, 5, 6, right? Okay, that is the range of that of pH that you want to study. You cannot answer, it is expected that pH 5 will be the best. That is not the right way, okay? Because logically, you will not know yet the result, which pH. You just have an idea that maybe the pH will give an impact, but you don't have the answer yet, whether what specific value should be the best. So you cannot answer, it is expected pH 5 will be the best pH. That is, you should avoid saying that. Okay? Instead, you can only say that it is expected the influence of pH on ethanol fermentation will be understood. So it sounds very generic. Generic means very general. Yeah, should be understood. It will be understood. Yeah. Okay, so that is chapter 4, sorry. Expected outcome. Okay, chapter 5 for a FYP research proposal will be research schedule, or they call it project schedule. There is a term for it. Research schedule. Okay, chapter 5. So what this chapter or research schedule is all about? This one should be, I jump over here. This one should be the Gantt chart. The Gantt chart. What is meant by Gantt chart? It shows the timeline of your project. Like you have the activity. Activity means like maybe you start sampling first, and after sampling, you do the isolation of the bacteria. So under the research, under the proposed research, you should know the activity of your research, what you start first, and then what you start after that. Okay, so that is the activity. You list it down, and you estimate the time that you will do that activity. For example, for FYP, you will start your semester in October, around October 2022, right? This year, this year you will start your FYP around October 2022, and then it will finish until next year until about June 2023. isn't it? So in your Gantt chart, so if you draw it, it's like a table. You develop a table, and then you must indicate the timeline. Like you put it every month column, November, December, January until June, isn't it? 2023. So let's say activity 1, okay, you expect you do in the first 2 months. So you shed the things. Okay, and then activity 2, maybe you do it after that, maybe in this month. So you shed the things. So it's actually to show the timeline of your work. Okay, what you will do and what period you will be, which period will be doing that until the end of the work. Maybe like the last one is the project presentation or thesis presentation. Okay, so that's going to be the end. So that is research schedule. So it means from the start until the end. Okay, the second part here is budgeting. For FYP, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to come up with the budgeting things. But for other research, okay, let's say for me, I'm an independent researcher. If I want to apply a new research for a grant, I have to do the budgeting. Budgeting here means like the cost of the research. Okay, the cost of the research means what's the cost of the chemicals. So that's why I have to know the method that I want to use. So when I know the methods, I would know the materials. I would know whatever the chemicals that I want to use. So that will guide me for the costing. So I know this material, this chemical, then I look for the prices, and then I estimate. Okay, the overall this project will cost about maybe 100,000. Okay, and not just the chemicals. The cost of the research also include maybe the cost of sampling. Let's say I have to sample somewhere else. So I have to pay for the fuel. I have to pay for the rent of the vehicles, something like that. Okay. Another thing is normally if let's say I apply for a research grant, I will hire a student. Means that the student will do actually their MSc, for example, MSc study. So they will work with the grant. They will work with that project. So they will be paid every month. Yeah? Because when you do MSc, when you do PhD, and when you are working under certain grant, you are actually considered as working. Even though the name is like you are an MSc student, you are a PhD student, but because of you have completed your first degree, and research is considered as a career. So when you are doing MSc and at the same time you are working for a certain project, means that you are paid every month. So you are actually working. Okay, so that's the difference between undergraduate. Now you are undergraduate, and postgraduate. Postgraduate means those students who are doing MSc and PhD after their first degree. Okay, so the budget. Okay? So whenever I apply for a new project, I should also consider the salary that I want to pay to my MSc or PhD student. So what's the rate? So the rate it based on the rate for a bachelor graduate. For example, 1,800 for a fresh grad, right? So I have to pay that every month. So 1,008 times, let's say the project duration is 2 years. So 1,008 multiplied by 24 months. So that amount I should also include in the budget, of the research. Okay. So that's budgeting is all about. Okay, so let's welcome there. And the last one is references. So in your FYP proposal, you should have this as your last chapter. Okay, this is normally we don't name it as chapter anymore. We just put references at the end. Or another name is bibliography. It's the same thing. But I think we use references now, but it actually refers to the same thing. Okay, so the last part will be the references. So how you do the references, referencing, how you do the referencing. how you do the referencing? So if you think about a manual method, you just type, isn't it? Like you Smith et al. 2010 in your text, and then you find the details of it and you type it again at the end of your document. That is what we call manual referencing. So it has two ways lah, actually. Manual means you do manually lah, you type one by one. Okay, that is what we call manual or traditional, conventional. But nowadays we have software tools that people have invented in order to facilitate the referencing. So this one, what we call referencing, you have to look for many tools actually. Referencing software or tools. So there are many types, many brands. Among them are EndNote, and then Mendeley. The most popular one is Mendeley because it is free. Another one is, I think, Zotero. EndNote is, as far as I know, is a paid software, so that's why it's not that really popular. So I not check number there. Yeah, Zotero, yes. That's the name of the software. Tapi dia punya purpose is the same. Is to help the referencing. Okay. So I would recommend Mendeley. Mendeley, you just Google Mendeley and then you can see option for downloading. Is actually a web-based app. Maknanya dia perlukan dekat internet lah, the web base. So you download it to your install it to your computer, so you can use it. Actually, you can use Mendeley for referencing. So how these softwares work? So it means once you install the software, when you open, I mean, of course, you have to log in using your Google account, for example. So once you log in into the Mendeley, I'm not familiar with EndNote, I'm just referring to Mendeley. So once you install the Mendeley to your laptop, you will have a space for it. Means that there would be a place for you to store the articles in the Mendeley in your computer. So they call it library, if I'm mistaken. So means how you want to use it. First, you have to upload all the articles in your library. Okay, articles means you have the PDF files of your articles. You upload first in your library, in your Mendeley library. So once you have the articles there, and then you have to link Mendeley to Words, Mendeley to Microsoft Words, so that whenever you type in your Microsoft Words and you want to cite, so your Microsoft Words will be linked to the Mendeley. I think there is I would give you a link to the video tutorial how to actually set up the Mendeley. Okay, so provided that you have already the articles in your Mendeley library, so that's how it works. If you don't have the articles yet, so it cannot cite them because it doesn't recognize the things. Okay, so you link the Mendeley to your words, and only then you can use Mendeley for citing. So it means that whenever you type in your words, there is an option. I do. My Mendeley is not updated. Not sure maybe I can show it to you. So there is an option in the words. Let's say you open you type normally in words, like okay, maybe you type your proposal and then suddenly you want to cite. There is an option on the tab over here, like cite or add citation, something like that. So when you click that, it will be linked to the Mendeley, and you can choose which article that you want to cite. So then it will list down whatever et al, Smith et al. Once you add the citation, dia akan masuk ke situ. So it's not just that. It will be actually included at the end of your document, okay, it will actually record whatever, the whole thing that you have cited. Maybe let's say you have cited about 30 articles, okay? So, and at the end of your document, of your proposal, you want to generate references. References, just now when I say references section, it's a section that lists down all the details of the articles, right? I'm sure that you are familiar with that. So in your Microsoft Words, there is a button add citation. There is also a button add, I think add bibliography or add references, something like that. So what this button is all about, so when you click that, it will automatically list down all the references that you have cited. Yeah, for example, 30 articles, it will be listed down here, 30 articles. So you don't have to type one by one, okay? So that's the beauty of the referencing software or referencing software tool. So the way how it works for EndNote and Zotero, it's also the same. But I just explained Mandarin that because I've used Mandarin before. Okay, so if not, you have to type lah. So if you want to type, then you spend around, it's very tedious. You spend around hours just for something that you can click just for a second. Okay, so in research, you have to know the tips and tricks, and also you have to be smart lah. Be smart. For example, you have to know a number of tools or softwares that can help you to write better. For example, this is one of it. And then last week I asked you to find a paraphrasing tool, isn't it? Paraphrasing software. So means that, of course, the basic thing that you have to know about paraphrasing, you have to develop your own sentences, you have to change. So that is your basic knowledge. But there are tools that can help you to improve your paraphrase sentences. So you have to use it. So if you combine your knowledge, your own skill and that tools, it will be excellent, and it will save you lots of hassles. Okay, so yeah, that's the referencing software. So basically that's what a research proposal should have. Okay, so I hope you can see the things that I focus for the FYP proposal. Okay, so for FYP we have chapters, and yeah, there are things that are included under each chapter. Okay. Yeah, I think I have covered everything, all the slides here. I don't want to do word by word in the slides. That's the reason why I just. Let me see what the things that I've missed out. Okay, for the references just now, there are two formats. One is APA, I mean, not just two formats, but if not mistaken, for FYP, we accept two formats, APA and Harvard styles. So there are actually many others, but what is this format is all about, it differentiates the way how the references are written. Yeah, maybe sometimes the journal name is written in full, sometimes it is abbreviated, okay, things like that. So it's all about standardization. So you should know there are the two common formats used and yeah, the two common formats used in FYP or in any research is APA and Harvard. You can actually set in Mendeley, there are an option for you to set what format you want to use. So let's say you want to set to APA. So whenever you generate the references, the tool generates the references at the end, it will include all the details according to that particular format. Okay. Any questions? I think, yeah, that's all about today's topic, research proposal. Okay, I have uploaded the instruction for for the research proposal on ELIP. Let me have it. So if you go to ELIP, yeah, under announcements, here you can see, sorry. You can see instruction for research proposal and presentation. Okay, please open it. So this is another assessment that you have to do, right? Remember, poster carries 20%, research proposal carries 20%, another 20%, and oral presentation of your posters and oral presentation of your proposal carries 20%. So it's quite a lot. So for the research proposal and the presentation altogether is 40% or 20 plus 20. So this one, okay, imagine you are now a third year resource biotech student. You are required to take a final year project. So this is the scenario. Below is the research title given to you by your supervisor. Okay, so this is an example of research topic given. Okay, this is under my research lab. So basically, the topic looks like this: feasibility of, example. Feasibility of waste glycerol from biodiesel as a feedstock for production of lacase in recombinant Pichia pastoris. Okay, before you start the research, you have to do literature review and write FYP proposal. In your subgroup, prepare the proposal based on the topic above. The parameter given to you is concentration of waste glycerol. Okay, so you have to, in your subgroup, you have to discuss lah. Since this one is just a training ground, right, for you to familiarize yourself, so that's why I put it in a group word so that it's not going to be that really stressful for you to prepare everything by your own. Okay, but next semester you have to do by your own. So meaning to say that in your subgroup, everyone has to work, everyone has to participate and understand what you are doing. Otherwise, you would suffer if you do the FYP proposal alone next semester. Okay, so take the opportunity this semester to train yourself, and you have your friends to discuss with, and prepare the proposal. So the proposal should consist of the following items: table of content, list of tables, this way if you have tables of figures, abbreviations, summary, abstract. Okay, so all the things that we have discussed just now: introduction, literature review, materials and methods, expected outcomes, work schedule or research schedule, also the same, references. Okay, please refer to the guidelines for FYP proposal writing as attached. I think I have attached. Use reliable sources such as journal papers, books, references as your references. The proposal will be assessed by Turnitin. So format is like this, 1.5 spacing, font. Yeah. So I would say you have to digest first the topic very well. Understand what it means. You can ask me if you are not clear. Okay, you can ask me. You can email me. So basically, this topic focuses on waste glycerol. So the aim is to use the waste glycerol. Glycerol is a byproduct produced from biodiesel. So normally the waste glycerol will be just discarded. Okay, but this project wants to see the potential of the waste glycerol as a feedstock. As a feedstock means as a substrate, as a food, for Pichia pastoris to produce lacases. Okay, this Pichia pastoris, I will give the information about this Pichia pastoris, but this Pichia pastoris can produce lacase. It can consume, it can actually eat glycerol. So means that you want to see, you know, the feasibility of producing lacases from glycerol using picopasteurase. Yeah? And the parameter given to you is concentration of waste glycerol. Okay, so this is the thing that you will vary. Means that you want to test different levels of concentration for the lacase production. Okay, so you digest first the title, do a little bit research, you know, like understand what is waste glycerol, you understand first lacase, you understand picopasteurase, and then you find articles related to lacase fermentation, things like that. So you have to combine your knowledge or understanding, your background on that. So then you can understand the whole thing as a whole. Okay. All right. So this is research proposal, means this is the one that you have to write. So the second part is the presentation. Okay. So once you have done your proposal, you have to present it. So this one is once you have the proposal, it's easier lah. So means that you just have to extract important points. Yeah. So you have to present it in 10 minutes. You cannot present all, so you have to be selective. So what you have to present, these are the format or the outline. Actually, it's the same thing, but it's just that the content should be summarized or should be more brief. Okay, because you only have 10 minutes. So for this one, and also you have to apply certain you have to add figures, pictures, flow chart, yeah, to make it much clearer and presentable in 10 minutes. And use less words, just maybe you just use point form, bullet form. Yeah? Okay, use pictures, flow chart, diagrams. Okay, so for this one, please record the presentation in 10 minutes. Okay, so since you are doing in a subgroup of how many? 3 or 4? So you have to divide the task among yourself lah. So this person present intro ke, yeah? Then another person present the next part. But you have to be, okay, what the ni kena guna, you have to be formal lah. The presentation should be formal in a way that you should turn on the webcam, okay, so that people know who are presenting. And then your appearance, pakailah smart sikit. And then the background, you can change the background, use virtual formal background. Yeah, there are so many free backgrounds and virtual backgrounds available. So choose the professional one, the one looks like macam office ke, or maybe you just use plain wall as your background also can. Okay, so that are among the tips of presentation. And last semester we also asked the students to record the presentation, 10-minute presentation, and we examine the presentation of the students. So since we are into online or distance learning nowadays, so I think it's very important for you to also develop your skill of presenting, recording, yeah, because that's needed. That's needed. And then you upload your video on your YouTube channel. So if you have your Google account, you can log in YouTube using your Google account then. So actually you have the channel. So in your channel, you submit your video, and I just want the link actually, the link of the YouTube video on Elite. When you submit the, when you submit the presentation, you have to submit the link to the Elite. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so the presentation carries 20%. Yeah, the proposal just now 20%. So it's 40%. So it's quite a big proportion for like for use of the assessments to score. Okay. Hey, any questions before we finish? And for the poster, any question for the poster? I'm sure you're into poster preparation now.